Hi everyone, this is Laura from Hint of Mitten, and today I'm going to show you how to make a 3D paper teapot. Here is the final product of your 3D teapot, where it has a spout, a handle, and the lid. The lid will come off, which will allow you to put different things in the teapot if you wish. Today I'm going to show you the different parts and pieces using a cutting machine here and how the best way to assemble it. There are many different parts and pieces, so I'm going to do my best to explain it to you where it makes sense. These are the main pieces that make up your teapot. There will be a score line of a 1 and a score line of 2 lines to help differentiate the two sides and matching up the accent panels. For side 1, we have 2 different slits within the accent panel, and this will be for your spout. On side 2, you'll see 4 different slits within the accent panel, and this will be for your handle pieces. These 4 pieces here will be for making your lid, and this is for the bottom of your teapot. To get started, I'm going to move the lid pieces to the side, since we'll be working with those at the end. And I will move the handle and the spout to the side as well. It's important when cutting out the pieces for side 1 and side 2 that you keep all the accent panels with that side in their exact place. This helps when we glue the accent panels and everything fits where it's supposed to fit. I'm going to start with side 1 here. Before we glue anything, we're going to be folding along all these different score lines. These score lines are done with a score pen or a scoring wheel with your cutting machine. So we're just going to start folding along all these different pieces. This next part's a little tricky. So there is a score line that goes all the way across. So you want to do your best to fold all these pieces and make sure you fold on that score line. Fold everything back flat because they are now going to be gluing the accent panels. Flip over because the outside of the teapot are these pieces here, which is where we're going to put these panels. We're going to glue all of these panels except for the one with the 2 slits for the handle. For the spout. We're going to be gluing these here on these spots like this. Before we add any glue, you're going to want to use your finger or a pen to slightly curve the different accent panels. This will give it some give when it is folded into a 3D shape. I like to use quick dry tacky glue. You can use any other glue that you would like, but I found that this did the best with adhering all the pieces and staying into place. If you get too much glue, I also use a paintbrush to help spread it around. We're going to take this accent panel. Whoop, as you can tell, I got too much glue out the first round here. So I'm going to use my paintbrush to smooth it around all the edges so it will adhere better to the teapot. I'm going to take this piece and we're going to put it on this part right here. Do your best to line it up in the center of your section and press down along all the edges to make sure the glue is in place. We're going to repeat these steps for the next 2 panels. If you get any extra glue, you can use paper towel or Kleenex to wipe away. Press firmly into place. And we're going to set this aside while we do section 2. We're going to fold all the pieces of section 2 before we move on to gluing the accent panels. This next part, you want to fold all 4 panels along the score line and press into place. Smooth back out, and we're going to flip this over to glue the accent panels. I will move these panels so you can see them. So here are the 4 panels. This one has the 4 slots for the handle. So we're going to move this panel to the side and glue these 3 for right now. We're going to slightly curve the panel piece with our finger or a pen and add glue to the other side. Repeat the same steps for the next 2 accent panels. Okay, now that we have finished gluing these accent panels, we're going to put this to the side and go back to side 1. And we're going to flip this over. We're going to be gluing these different panels together with this whole side and the side 2 before we put it all together as one. I'm going to fold this back. We're going to add a little bit of glue. Spread it around if needed. We're going to line up the 2 pieces together here. You want to make sure that it's on outside of this section and it's lined up at the top. And you're going to push down till it holds into place. We're going to fold this back. And some glue. Spread around. And we're going to fold these 2 pieces together, press down, and hold in place. If you get too much glue, you're welcome to wipe it off. We're going to repeat these steps for all of these panels. Okay, this is side 1. We're going to put this to the side and we're going to work with side 2. Fold back and glue just the same we did with side 1. This is all going to be on the inside of the teacup, so you won't notice you're gluing as much. Okay, now that we have our two pieces, side one and side two, these flaps will be going on the bottom for both sides. Now this next spot is a little tricky, so it requires a little bit of patience. You're going to be gluing these two flaps to the side with felt flaps on this piece. And we're going to be doing that for both sides. So we're going to start with this side. We're going to put the glue right here. We're taking the top of both pieces and lining up. And then you want to make sure it lines up with the middle of this piece. And make sure you hold it down using fingers on both sides to make sure the glue does not move around. Now we're going to do it for this section as well. Kind of make sure you pull it tight, line up with the end, and use your fingers. Whoop, and this is why it's a little tricky. Don't want to move it around too much. I'm just going to hold it in place here for a second. And then you got to move your fingers up and down to make sure it's all together. So just takes a little bit of patience. Make sure your glue does not move. Okay, we're going to repeat the same steps for this side. We're going to add glue here and attach it to this side. So, using both hands, line up the top and line up the middle and hold in place. I'm going to do the same for this section. Pull tightly and line up at the top. Hold down and also up and down to make sure it's all sealed. And there is your base of your teacup. You can kind of see down there the flaps that we'll use to seal with the base. What I do find is helpful is you can see is that this has a single score line and this has two score lines. Since we'll be adding the base to here, you're welcome to make marks on the inside of, I would recommend a pencil if you want to. So that way you can see better which side is number 2 and number 1 when we add the outside panels. The next step is adding the base to your teapot. Now this takes a little bit of finesse to make sure the 3D teapot goes into place. So we're going to be adding glue to these outside pieces here before we put on our base. You need to squish the sides of the teapot to line up your base piece. Hold it in place, and you can also flip this over once it's set for a second and press from the inside with your paintbrush. So it's set a little bit, so I'm going to push down and use my paintbrush to push down the flaps and where it meets the base piece. So that way everything is firmly in place. So now we have our base on. Since we made those marks on the inside with a pencil, it's a lot easier to see which is side 1 and which is side 2. Next, we're going to do side 1 with the spout, which is on this side where I had marked with the 1. Side 1 was with the 2 slits for the spout pieces, so we're going to fold this like we did the other outside panels, and I'm going to grab this 2 spout pieces right here. Oops. These 2 pieces we're going to fold along the score lines, just like we have with all the other pieces. In this case, everything is folding inwards. So this outside flap, we want to fold the opposite direction so it can go into the panel. This piece is going to meet this one, so we're going to fold all of these score lines. And you can tell that this piece, this outside flap, also needs to go the opposite direction. So these 2 pieces are going to go like this when it is all done. So we're going to start with this bottom piece, adding some glue. And spreading out if needed. We're going to take this open part of the handle or the spout and press into place and hold for just a little bit here so it does not move around. Next, we're going to glue this to complete this side. Press firmly into place. Now we're going to complete this side. I still have some glue on my brush, so I'm going to glue this piece here. Kind of use both sides to hold firmly into place. Now we're going to glue here. Going to go into this section, line up, and hold into place. Here is your spout, and we're now going to insert it into the 2 slits on the outside panel. The 2 slits will need to be at the top with the spout facing up. So insert here and here, pulling from the other side if needed to get fully into place. We're now going to fold back these flaps and add glue. fold back down and hold into place. Same thing with this side. We're going to add some glue and fold down into place. Now your spout is secure into your panel. We're now going to add glue to this side of the panel and insert onto here. You want to make sure that all of the glue is spread to the outside edges of the panel so it holds firmly in place. If needed, add glue to the middle. Starting with the top of the handle, line up with your other panels and fold down and line up the bottom as well, using your fingers on the outside and inside to push firmly into place. And now we're going to work with side 2, which has the 4 slits for the handle. The handle are these 2 pieces right here. So similar to the spout, we're going to fold along all the score lines inwards. The only time that we're going to fold outwards is these end flaps right here. This side has 2 score lines and we're going to fold inwards. These 2 pieces will line up with these flaps and we'll glue into place all the way around. So taking this piece, we're going to line up and hold firmly into place. We're going to do the same thing for the rest of these panels. You have then completed your handle, and we're going to insert these pieces into your panel. For that, I'm going to make sure that we slightly curl this panel piece so it'll go with the curve of the teapot. So insert into the top part of the panel those pieces. And pull on these tabs to pull into place. And repeat with these. Oops. And pull into place. Now we're going to add glue to this side of each piece. I'm going to fold down and hold into place. Fold back. A little glue. And hold into place. Now that the handle is in place, we're going to attach this panel with glue here to attach this way. Holding the handle is the easiest way. Applying glue to the edges to make sure it stays secure on the teapot. And glue in the middle as well. Okay, taking this to the top, we're going to line up to this last section and also folding down the bottom here and lining that part as well. Using your fingers on both the outside and inside of the top teapot, smooth into place so everything is glued down. And here we have the base of our teapot with the spout and the handle. We're now going to work on the lid, so I'm going to set this to the side. These pieces are what you need to make the lid. This makes the main part of the lid. This goes on the inside, and these two make the top. So we're going to start with the top. There are all these different score lines. We're going to fold along all these score lines. These are tinier pieces, so just be careful. So here we have the very top of our lid. We're going to fold these pieces down. And we're going to be lining up this piece to the base. So similar to the base of the teapot, you just want to make sure it's all lined up and may need to press the different sides to get it in place. So we're going to be adding glue to all these flaps to help. And using both ends to hold until the glue has set. Here we have the complete piece. Next, we're going to work on the main part of the lid. Similar to all the other structures, we have to fold along the fold lines. Starting on this end, we're going to work our way this way with gluing along these different flaps. I'm going to move these two pieces together, making sure everything's on top of one another, lining the top all the way down and holding into place. If you get too much glue, then we'll use a paper towel to wipe off. Firmly hold in place. So if you need to, make sure that this part is under this one. Line up the end and fold down. Next, we're going to glue along this flap here and glue these two sides together to create the whole lid. We're going to line up the top and bottom. And hold in place. Now you have your lid. We're going to have the top piece here, but before we do that, I'm going to flip this over and we're going to do the inside part of the lid. Now you don't have to do this part, but I found it very helpful if you want to keep the lid more secure on the top of the teapot. It won't move around as much. Then I would put this part on the inside. If you plan on putting flowers inside the teapot and don't need the lid to be that in place, then you don't need this part. But fold along all the different score lines, all going inwards. Just like that. These two ends we're going to be gluing together, so we're going to be adding glue right here. Line up and hold in place. Now this piece right here is going to sit inside the teapot lid. And these 4 flaps are going to be glued to the inside. So we're going to take this one, add some glue, and get this in the spot where you want it, lining up the edges to the sections, and hold firmly into place. The glue dries quickly, so I take each section at a time. So if you need to, you can fold it back a little bit, add some glue, and put it in place. And we'll repeat this for the next 2 sections. Enough on this. Now that we have finished gluing all 4 tabs inside the lid, we're now going to do the top part of the lid, which is our last step. So we're going to take this part and we're going to glue it here. So before we do that, we're going to add glue to all these tabs up top. Take this piece. We're going to line it up and hold it into place until the glue is set. Now we have completed the lid. This inside part is now going to go inside the teapot to prevent it from moving around too much. So use your finger to get it inside and in place. And there you go. We have finished our 3D teapot complete with spout, handle, and lid. This is perfect for decoration for your tea party, and you can fill it with flowers or just have it stand alone. Thank you.